best, number one and nothing less.
General Muhammadu Buhari used to be a little-known infantry officer in the Nigerian army. He had been the nation's Federal Commissioner for Petroleum under the defunct Olusegun Obasanjo military regime, but he was not really a popular figure at the time. That was to change, however, when he led a coup which on December 31st, 1983, overthrew the rudderless civilian regime of Shehu Shagari, which brought the economy to its knees.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Please sit down.
Buhari's colleagues in the army had so much respect for him because of his discipline, honesty, incorruptible nature, and patriotic zeal. Though he was head of state for only 20 months, Buhari's no-nonsense stance resonated with his compatriots. Nigerians who hitherto showed indiscipline and disorderliness in their daily activities were quickly straightened up. But his reforms were short-lived when he was overthrown by General Ibrahim Babangida. But even out of power, Nigerians remember his time in office with nostalgia. Buhari ventured into the murky waters of politics in 2003 and contested the presidential elections as candidate of the All Nigeria People's Party. He lost to the incumbent president Olusegun Obasanjo of the People's Democratic Party.
And when I fall down, I have to pick myself back up.
Not deterred by his loss, Buhari staged a comeback in 2007, flying the ticket of the same party. Though his popularity in the North grew steadily, he still couldn't upstage the candidate of the ruling party, Umaru Yar'Adua, the former governor of his home state of Katsina. And though he contested the outcome of the poll right up to the Supreme Court, he couldn't get the highest court in the land to overturn the result.
I have to pick myself back up.
Not comfortable with the internal wranglings within the AMPP, the party he helped establish, General Buhari and his supporters went on to establish the Congress for Progressive Change, on which platform he ran as the presidential candidate for the third time. Many pundits were intrigued and impressed at Buhari's growing popularity in the north. Everywhere he went, the crowd became uncontrollable. At some campaign grounds, the sea of heads that numbered what you'll find in the biggest football stadiums in the world. Buhari pulled an eye-popping 12 million votes. This figure shocked many analysts, given the fact that the CPC was just a few months old and were without a single sitting governor or federal lawmaker. Though he was defeated by the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, President Goodluck Jonathan, he was not disgraced.
And when I fall down, I have to pick myself back up. And when I fall down,
again, he challenged the election in court, but he lost. For a man who is determined to see things change, he opted to throw his heart into the ring again. To many people, especially the masses, the poorest of the poor, Buhari is a darling and the man to set Nigeria on the path of real change. Fondly called Mai Gaskiya, meaning the truthful one, Buhari's large crowds terrified the ruling PDP and gave them a hint of what fate awaited them on election day. Kano, northern Nigeria's commercial capital, is one state where Buhari is profoundly popular. In 2011, unprecedented crowds received him in Kano, but in 2015, the crowd was even larger. Large crowds jammed the roads to receive him at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport and everywhere he went in the ancient city. Indeed, he was billed to inaugurate some projects in the city, but because the roads were jammed by large crowds, the idea of Buhari inaugurating projects was put off, and he was instead taken straight to the Sani Abacha Stadium, where the crowd was waiting to receive and hear from him. To say his cross-country popularity is to say the obvious. In all the nation's geopolitical zones, he drew large crowds. This is Buhari in the southwest state in Ogun. An even bigger crowd received him in Lagos State. In Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, the crowd at the Ramat Square was large and uncontrollable that Buhari could not climb the podium. To address the people, he had to return to Abuja immediately. The people could not be held back by threat of attacks. The people of Yobe State told Buhari that he did not need to come to campaign to them, as he was sure of their overwhelming support. Just before the presidential election, General Buhari's airplane touched down at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Airport, Bauchi, on a vote-hunting mission in a clear breach of security. The general's supporters set forward intent on catching a glimpse of the people's general. The people then lined the streets of the northeast town right up to the campaign ground. But his victory didn't come without the overwhelming support of Nigerians. At a point, the contest was between Buhari, his team and supporters, versus his party and the institutions. The people desperately wanted him, not because he was super intelligent or possessed certificates from Ivy Leagues, but because he possessed a rare quality, a quality he built and kept without blemish for decades. For a man who has no visible edifice like his colleagues, it seemed everybody knew what he earned as a retired general. He is so reliable that even his bankers trust him to give him a loan to buy the party nomination form. His campaigns were bankrolled by the very poor and rich in the country. Even when he was denigrated by the ruling party, his classmates and friends came to the rescue. Months before the 2015 election, preparations began. After his third attempt at the presidency, Buhari said he was not going to contest for the position again. His loss at the poll led to riots in the north as his supporters claimed that the general was robbed of his victory. The formation of the All Progressives Congress in 2013, following the approval of the application of 3 political parties to merge into one by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), served as a booster for the former military head of state's ambition to serve the people. After several hurdles and negotiations, Buhari won the party's presidential ticket after a keenly contested primaries with other political heavyweights. The presidential primaries of the APC was adjourned to be the freest among other political parties. The Daura-born general, now the APC presidential candidate for the 4th term, started his campaign visiting the nook and the cranny of Nigeria.
Here we go, it's getting close. Now it's just who wants it most. It's just like that.
To the ruling party, images of large crowds at General Buhari's rallies must come as worrying evidence of his rising profile and popularity. While these large crowds could only be counted in the north during the 2011 campaigns, his last and final push in 2015 were a recurring spectacle across the country and the southwest, the middle belt, and even the oil-producing states of the deep south, where the outgoing President Jonathan's constituency and southeast areas where the support for the ruling People's Democratic Party (PDP) was initially thought to be absolute and unwavering. Whether the popularity of Buhari is the result of growing confidence in his proposed policies and programs or an indication of growing disenchantment with deteriorating social conditions and the pressing security challenges is hard to ascertain, but it presented a real threat to the PDP's 16-year hold on power. It is the first time possible alternative to incumbent political leadership emerged in Nigeria's history for a party that has enjoyed unchallenged political control in most Nigeria's 36 states and at the federal level since 1999. A strong opposition is hard to stomach. Buhari also appears to have become more receptive to the divergent opinions to characterize Nigeria's politics. Time seemed to have worked on his persona. The transformation from stern and uncompromising figure who many believed represented ethnic and provincial interests to a candidate whose avuncular gait has become one of his most endearing qualities is impressive. Throughout his campaign, he managed to steer clear of controversial statements that could be interpreted as either inciting or derisive. For the first time since he contested for the presidential seat in 2003, Buhari's wife and daughters graced public events and interacted with the public more than previous campaigns, providing a real human face to the man who the ruling party went to great lengths to demonize. These changes may have been the reason for his growing popularity in the southern part of the country.
When he was the head of state, the way he handled Nigeria, and people have started changing then, and then all of a sudden he was toppled. So I think he felt like Nigerians are very, very good and wonderful people. They just need a leader, a very good leader, and that's it.
Change is a key source to revolution and improvement.
But besides that is the prevalent opinion that Buhari's popularity poses a real threat to the incumbent leadership for some key reasons. The most significant is his insistence on tackling corruption, which was the mantra of his campaign.
Change has come. A new day and a new Nigeria are upon us. The victory is yours, and the glory is that of our nation, Nigeria.
It is believed that this is a major source of worry for a government that has been accused of widespread malfeasance. The list of allegations against members of the outgoing president's cabinet is extensive. It is believed that Buhari's stern disposition stands as one of his most admired assets, as well as one of his most dreaded. Recently, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, a leading member of the PDP who recently ripped his membership card to bits publicly, alleged that President Jonathan was afraid of Buhari's presidency because he was afraid of going to jail. There is genuine fear that the straight-talking retired general has a real determination to tackle corruption head-on. And this poses a clear and present danger to several members of the outgoing administration.